If you wanna meet him at the front gate, you wanna make it into heaven's gates, you gotta walk up that narrow and straight. You gotta walk up that narrow and straight. If you wanna meet him at the front gate, you wanna make it into heaven's gates, you gotta walk up that narrow and straight. Yo, what up? Hey, it's Toby D, and you already know what it is. As painful and hard as it is to say any of this right now, it's pound for pound. Guys, I think I've seen a lot of heartbreakers since watching the Atlanta Falcons, since '89. But I think this has got to be the toughest one I have ever experienced of my Atlanta Falcons. I'm just being honest. You know, I was there when I watched Matt Ryan throw 2 pick sixes in the game against Carolina 2014 when the season was on the line, the division was on the line. Carolina ends up getting the win and going ahead to eventually win the division, going to the playoffs. But this one right here really, in my mind, tops that. This loss against the Cincinnati Bengals, and I'm going to tell you why it does. Because it's freaking Andy Dalton. A guy who I do not see being a Hall of Famer. A guy who cannot seem to win the playoffs. Of course, that was Matt Ryan's story until he started winning in the playoffs when Dan Quinn came along. But yet, we just, for the second week in a row, can't seem to find a way on defense to get stops. Yes, I appreciate the valiant effort of our defense coming out in the second half and finally getting some pass rush on Andy Dalton after not getting any basically in the first half. I applaud Dan Quinn for finding someone like a Tat McKinley who was there for us to move up a few spots to get in the 2017 draft. I applaud Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff for pulling the trigger on Calvin Ridley, who has been an absolute amazing star, especially these last 3 games. We're looking at what? About 6 touchdowns in 3 games. 1 against Carolina, 3 against the Saints, and 2 today against the Cincinnati Bengals. It's just amazing to watch him doing what he's doing. Now, of course, you have to give some contribution to Julio Jones, who unfortunately still has not found his way into the end zone. And you can see he's really been fighting, trying to get there, but has barely been able to make it, maybe by a tackle or 2 that happens to get him before he can fight to get those touchdowns, because he's just not getting them in the red zone. But you still have to give him some credit for the shine of Calvin Ridley, because Calvin Ridley's benefiting with the coverages that are rolling his way. But you finally have a wide receiver that can take advantage when he gets those one-on-ones. And he's wearing them out. Nothing against Mohamed Sanu. Mohamed Sanu is a great teammate, great player, but he just was not that guy that could take advantage of all his one-on-ones when he's had the opportunity. Now, of course, having Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley has afforded him to be able to do so. Today he had over a 100-yard game against his former team. But it's just sad to watch us for the second week in a row lose a shootout. The Falcons shoot themselves out of 2 wins against the Saints and the Cincinnati Bengals. One are more upset than the other because it is Andy Dalton. I'm sorry. I mean, you hear Cal Hurd all the time talking about Andy Dalton and Matt Ryan being similar quarterbacks. I beg to differ, Bill Cal Hurd. I don't see any of that. Matt Ryan is clearly a better quarterback, and he's proven it even in the 2 losses. The man has had, 8 touchdowns or 9 touchdowns in the last two games? That is ridiculously awesome. And to lose those games when you got a quarterback playing at top level, that's not good, Dan Quinn. And I'm sorry, this is on Dan Quinn. Here's a guy that came out and said, we're not going after any high-profile players. We believe in the guys in that locker room. We're not going to play the role of victims to injuries. You have a tough, and excuse my French, ass group in that locker room. And they're going to play better. That first half, they were non-existent. That first half, they were undisciplined. You got Trufant pushing people in the back. You could have gotten off the field. That was an unnecessary penalty he got, and he's a veteran since 2013. You got Brian Poole who has been very sloppy these last few games with penalties. You're hitting Giovanni Bernard when you didn't even have to, knowing he clearly was not going to be in play for the catching the ball. You're off the field. You already got a defense that couldn't stop the first three drives of the Bengals. Now, yes, we can say the Bengals couldn't stop the Falcons' offense either because they had all their players out there, so what was their excuse? But you already don't have your players on the field because of injuries, and you do stupid stuff like today. Didn't make any sense. This team defensively is playing frustrated, and I'm sorry, they are playing the victim to injuries. They don't believe in themselves right now, Dan. As much as you tried to coach them up this week, showing your confidence in them, that you're not going to go out and sign high-profile players, i.e. Eric Reed, who you let go over to the Carolina Panthers. And is it because you didn't want the controversy after you and your team publicly came out and said that you're going to stand for the flag? Are we trying to win here, or are we worried that much about a guy who is kneeling for what he believes in? A guy that knows your scheme, played in a similar scheme to your scheme in San Francisco, and you don't sign him, and yet he's the second player that you could have had that has gone on over to the Carolina Panthers. You already knew you and Thomas Dimitroff was going to draft a wide receiver, and you weren't going to go after a pass rusher in the first round. You took Calvin Ridley. Why did you not re-sign Dontari Pope? Because I'm going to tell you right now, Terrell McClain has not shown up since he has become a Falcon. Now, Deidre Sinat, he's a decent player, but he's still not there yet. Why did you let Dontari Pope out? You guys, you can't stop the run. You can't stop the pass. And while Vic Beasley, yes, has finally been able to show up in these past two games, none of that effort means anything if you don't come away with the W. And it's very frustrating watching this. Dan Quinn, to me, you have not shown that you are good in situations. And that's what this game is all about. Understanding the situations and coming through in the situations when the opportunity presents themselves. This defense gives up two critical fourth down conversions in this last drive to Andy Dalton and this offense after Tyler Eifert goes out. And God bless Tyler Eifert, man. I'm praying for you, man. That was a gruesome injury, a legal hit by Devondre Campbell, but it was a gruesome injury. They still are able to beat us. That should not have happened. My question is this, man. I thank God for making it to 41. Is anybody going to bring this city a parade? I don't care who does it. I don't care if it's my Braves, the Falcons, the Hawks, Atlanta United. I am tired of us building these entertaining teams, but none winning championship teams. At some point in time, we have to be able to win some championships here in Atlanta. This great city, Atlanta, that continues to become greater, with all the things that we have here, with all the people that move here, all the celebrities that move here, we yet are able to bring more championships than the few championships that we had. Nobody even celebrates Georgia Swarm, who got them one. Congratulations to them. But nobody's talking about lacrosse. Let's be honest. We have the one World Series with the Braves when we should have really had at least 3 out of all those that we went to. And I believe we have a championship with the Georgia Bulldogs, but that was so long ago. I think in the 80s. We haven't had anything since. I just want to see us bring a parade to Atlanta. Now, the season is not over, but you're 1-3 after the first quarter of the season, when you should have at least been 2-2. This was a heartbreaker, guys. I don't know how I'm going to get over this one. Now you about to go to play the Pittsburgh Steelers, who clearly have the capabilities of scoring a lot of points. The points are not going to stop. Somehow, if you're going to make the decisions you're making, you and Marquand Manuel, Jeff Albrecht, all of those guys on the defensive side of the ball, y'all got to figure out how to get this defense to do what they need to do. And they can't keep coming out here being undisciplined when you already suck on the back end. Kudos to DeMonte Casey for getting the interception off a tip pass. Kudos to Keith Tandy for blocking a punt. Yet we can only get 3 points out of it. But we don't come away with the win. Dan, you got to do something. You got the extension. You have control over this team. You don't let Jonathan Hankins go. He was out there. He went to the Raiders because you wouldn't sign him. And now Reed is gone. You don't have him. I don't know what else you're going to do to help this team win. We can't blame Steve Sarkisian anymore. This is 3rd straight game with him and his offense scoring over 30-plus points. And yet it still wasn't enough because your defense can't stop nobody. We're looking like Mike Smith team. Even when they had starters, where Deku and Willie Modem couldn't stop passes from going over their heads. Blowing coverages. It's sad to watch right now. Are we playing for the top 10 pick in the draft? Because that definitely seems like what it is, being 1-3. You still got talent on both sides of the ball. I know Debo gone. I know Rico gone. I know Keanu Neal gone. But guys, you still have something to work with to get this defense at least to be competent enough to get some stops in, where it's not so close and you're not in shootouts all the time. How can you believe in this team when every week now we're going to be in a shootout with every team we play? And we're playing some serious offenses coming up. Pittsburgh Steelers. Tampa Bay, even though they got their butts whipped and handed to them by the Chicago Bears, they still have the capabilities with Deshaun Jackson and Mike Evans and all those weapons they got over there, O.J. Howard, all them weapons they got over there to whip our behinds, because we can't stop nobody. You got the Pittsburgh Steelers you about to deal with. The Giants are still capable of beating us with OBJ and Barkley. What are we going to do, Dan? The ball is in your court. You should have looked exactly like how you look today. You were supposed to look like that. Because you know you blew opportunities and your team did not back up them words of confidence that you put out on them during the week. Period. And I know Brian Poole is a grown man. You got to respect him as a grown man. But I'm getting in Brian Poole's butt for that unnecessary penalty he got with Giovanni Bernard, especially with the new rules that's been implemented. He's been doing some sloppy, uncharacteristic, and undisciplined things. But you sitting over there talking all nicely to him. You can't do that. You look at Bill Belichick would have got in that behind. Some of these other coaches would have got in that behind. You got a game to win here. Your season is starting out on the wrong foot. What are you going to do? Because as a fan, I don't want to see that. And I don't want to keep hearing about what you believe the team is going to do, because you're hoping they're going to back up your words, because right now they haven't been backing up anything that you've been saying right now. The only ones that's been doing that is Matt Ryan, after he had one bad game so far in week 1 against the Philadelphia Eagles. He has totally erased that. The offense has totally erased that. Yes, they've had opportunities where they could have done even better and they missed out on. We know this. But for the most part, they put up 35 plus points. You got to win them games, man. Look, I'm done with it. I can't go any further. So you guys, man, please continue to comment. Subscribe if you feel it in your heart to do so. Hey, share, like, all of those great things. I know it's hard today. It's hard on me. I didn't even know if I was going to be able to get the heart up to do this, but I'm not going out like that. Hey, again, it's Pound for Pound. I'm Toby D. Peace. I'm out.